right, everybody, welcome to our AEW Double or Nothing prediction show here, Backbreaker Video. Recording this live over on twitch.tv/MikeTheRef, the home of the AEW Double or Nothing sidecast here on Twitch. We're going to be here starting around roughly 7 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Mountain, 4 o'clock Pacific. We're going to be checking out all the matches, enjoying some company with each other, and just generally, let wrestling fans be wrestling fans. So always a fun time, always good to enjoy things. There are a lot of great matches on this card, and one thing we're going to add for every match out of this is I'm going to give you some special moment that's going to happen in every match. It could be something great, it could be something crazy, it could be something stupid. I just want to give you, I'm just going to throw something out there, like spitball something. And, every once in a while, a blind squirrel will find a nut. Let's see how many nuts I can find as we go through here.
What the hell was that?
Anyway, let's get into this. Right off the bat, first of all, we have on the pre-show, on the buy-in, Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne taking on the team of Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. Now, I don't feel that they're going to give Megan Bayne another loss, but Penelope Ford's always in there to eat one. Megan Bayne's only had her one loss in AEW against Toni Storm so far, and I think they still want to keep her strong in the opportunity to go after a title. I do think Harley is probably going to end up eating the pin on this one, or else Anna Jay's going to eat the pin because Harley's doing something crazy or out of the way here. So I do think Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne do get the victory here. My crazy moment or my special moment of the match might actually be either during the match or after the match. And this might change the results of the match in some way. It either happens after the match with Anna Jay snapping because she can't stand the fact that Harley lost her another match, or it could happen during the match where there's some interference by the one and only Ty Mello. I'm going to throw that out there as my wild card here. Ty Mello returns on the pre-show to either help Anna Jay or to join Anna Jay after her match. If she loses to the team, they attack Harley, and Ty and Anna Jay become an evil tag team again. I'll take that any day, without a doubt. Let's see. If some of these things roll out, I'm going to be a freaking genius on some of this. But anyway, let's continue on here for the AEW Tag Team Championships, and probably with my bet, I'd actually say there's a few matches here that are pretty straightforward on what we're going to be doing here, but the Hurt Syndicate taking on the Sons of Texas. Now, I know Dustin is trying to play up the nostalgia of being at the original Double or Nothing in his feud with Cody and that memorable match. And Sammy is a hell of an athlete. But I really don't think they're going to take the titles off of the Hurt Syndicate anytime soon. So you do get, but Lashley and Bobby facing each other is going to be a hell of a matchup just because people don't realize how big Dustin really is. Compared to Lashley, they're two big boys in there. That's meat division right there. But I do think that the champions do retain in a hell of a match. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I do think MJF gets involved. I don't think we get Cedric here. A lot of people are calling for Cedric Alexander to show up this week. I'm thinking with the fact that the contract signing went through so clean and so well, I don't think you pull that trigger that early. Let this simmer. Let's see what MJF does to help out the Hurt Syndicate. Does he cost him the titles? Does he help him keep the titles? Because there's history there with Sammy and MJF as well, so don't forget about that. But I do think that MJF is a pivotal factor for winning this. But I think the craziest thing you're going to get out of this match is Sammy doing something absolutely nuts. whether it be a 450 off something off something 300 feet high or something. But I think the most craziest thing is the fact you're not going to see Cedric Alexander out of this. I think that's probably the smartest way to go here, but either way. Well, let's go with the Paragon versus the Don Callis family, and it's the A team of the Callis family. Alexander, Takeshita, and Fletcher taking on Roddy Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole. Now, I do feel in this case here, they are going to be trying to set up a Kyle Fletcher, Adam Cole match. I think that's where you go here. So I do think the Don Callis family, blah, 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 say that fast 5 times, gets the victory. I do think Adam Cole's actually the one that gets pinned in this by Kyle Fletcher, setting up the match that they're probably going to be looking forward to here in the future. But I think this is going to be an absolute crazy match overall. And I think, honestly, the one thing that might surprise you in this match is how little Don Callis gets involved. I think this gets to be a straight-on fight, a straight-on match. And Callis will be on commentary. We all know that. That's what he does instead of being at ringside. But I don't think he's going to be much of a factor in this match. I think it's going to be a straight-up victory for the heel side here. Paragon's been earning their wins, but they have been very tough wins against some very potentially great opponents, but realistically, opponents that haven't done a whole lot yet. Maybe it's just me at that point, but I just think that Callis is going to keep things clean here. You might get an interference spot by GYV or Roppongi Vice. It always could happen, right? You just get extra people, and I think they're going to try and keep it very tame because there's a part of this card that's going to be absolutely insane. I think it really will be a lot of insanity for a lot of this, and we'll get to that match. It's going to be our main event tonight, so. But yeah, let's move on from there to the Continental Championship match, and I think this one is probably the most easily predicted match on the card. Kazuchika Okada, Mike Bailey. While Mike Bailey is going to give a performance like no other, and people will be giving a standing ovation in this one, Okada's winning this. We already know it's going to be Okada Omega creating the Intercontinental title at All In. I think there's a straightforward, semi-truck driving towards that match as we're going forward. So I think Bailey gets. I wonder if he hits the Ultimo to this show. The double knees from the top rope. He hasn't hit it yet at AEW, from what I've seen. If he hits that and still Okada powers out of it, or sneaks out of it, out of the ring or whatever, I do think he hits the Ultimo. I think that might be the exciting point of the match there. And I do not think Okada's going to win this. Like, that's just, if you're going to go to DraftKings, that's probably your safest bet for the entire card, is putting money on Okada. Forgive me, chat. A little bit of AC cold, as it's called. Step of the AC too much and you get the cold all the time. But yeah, Okada's going to win this. I think it's pretty straightforward here. Stretcher match, Ricochet, Mark Briscoe. This one could really honestly go either way, because both men are literally bulletproof when it comes to losses. Either one can take a loss and it won't matter. And I think both of these guys are pretty much destined for like a casino gauntlet at All In if they're going to be on the card. I don't think you put Ricochet anywhere near any title because there's no real spot for him for any of the titles right now. Maybe the closest would be the TBS, but I do think Fletcher gets that spot. So if I had to pick a winner, I would have to probably say, with all the heels winning so far tonight, I do think we're going to get a face to win, and I think Mark Briscoe will win this. And craziest spot, I think you get Froggy Bow off the top of the ambulance onto the stretcher on the Ricochet. Either that or Ricochet does a 450 off the ambulance. Somebody's going off the ambulance onto someone. That's my crazy spot for the match, because that match, it will be a little bit nuts. We all know it's probably going to be a little extra nuts there. So we have the FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia. In my heart of hearts, I do feel that Bryan Danielson's going to get involved here. Either that or Adam Copeland. And I don't mean tonight. I mean in the storyline. Like Nigel says, this will be the last time that FTR deals with him. I call BS. I call absolute BS. I think FTR having the ability to, if they're not going to go up against the Hurt Syndicate at All In, then this is where you pull Danielson and McGuinness to take on FTR at All In. That would be a match. Or else you get Copeland and McGuinness, one or the other. I do think FTR gets the victory on this one. And I think it sets up to something a little further down the road, more than anything else. And just the pop for Nigel, I think, might be the most exciting thing of the night. These guys are all technical grapplers. They are all great storytellers. I do think Nigel brings in a little sneaky technique. I think your most exciting moment of the night will be the fact that Tony Schiavone actually gets involved in this match. Whether he gets a punch in or whether he had something off during the match, I think Tony Schiavone actually gets involved in this. He might get kicked for his efforts. He might get attacked for his efforts. But I do think Tony Schiavone's getting involved. That's going to be your surprise moment of the match for that. And then from there, I think we'll go with the Owen matches first and then the two main events. Mercedes Moné, Jamie Hayter for the Women's Owen Hart Championship. I just see the tea leaves running. Like, there's two ways you can think of this match. Mercedes Moné, Toni Storm are the two biggest ladies reputation-wise in AEW, and having them go up for the AEW Women's title or go title for title, it is a hell of a prospect. But my gut keeps telling me that this is going to be Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, the place where Jamie lost the title to Toni Storm originally, because her with Ruby Riott and Saraya attacked Jamie Hayter's arm to the point where she was out for over a year. And, of course, there were other injuries, but I digress. I think this is the vindication spot for Jamie Hayter and the end of Toni Storm, which it's going to be interesting how the crowd reacts to that. But for this match here, I think Jamie Hayter does get the win in this, and I do think it's due to Athena getting involved. I think this is one of the most obvious ones that a lot of people are talking about. I do think Athena gets involved, and I do feel that this is going to set up the TBS title match between Athena and Mercedes at All In Texas. That just seems like the match is just so perfect right now. And to me, that feels like that's the match that should happen. And then from there, let's go to the men's match. Ascension versus Redemption. Will Ospreay, Hangman Page. This one here, this is about as close to a pick'em as you can get, period. There is a compelling case to have both of these athletes win this match and go on to the main event, or to the title match. I want to correct myself. The title match at All In Texas. And my gut tells me that Hangman's got a little bit more redemption to do before he actually succeeds. I do feel that, he's starting to recover, but for every recovery, there is stumbling. For every recovering alcoholic, you do have relapses. And when you have a relapse, you have to get back on the horse and you do have to build yourself back up again. I think that's where we're going with Hangman Page on this. Will Ospreay right now is talking like the face of the company, regardless of what people say and what he looks like in terms of the head of the company. He is talking, he is wrestling like he is the mainstay of AEW. And honestly, this match here will probably be the one match here where somebody forgets to hit the Y button one too many times, doesn't get that reversal in, and the other guy gets the victory. The shocking moment of this match here, I think it's the fact that you don't win it on a finisher. I think this match gets won on a small package or a very small mistake by Hangman Page, and he gets rolled up by Ospreay for the 1-2-3 of the victory. I don't think it's going to be this big emphatic Styles Clash or Tiger Driver or anything else like that. I think it's going to be a quick roll up. And I think that's how Ospreay's going to win this match. And that's going to send Hangman even deeper into anxiety because one little mistake cost him this match, cost him this run. And it's just going to prove his resolve right now. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see the stories going forward, both from Ospreay and from Hangman following this match. Now, the match that I think is going to have the most shenanigans in it, outside Anarchy in the Arena, because that's just a plain old exception here. Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa. Now, face-face title matches are always a problem. Not so much in AEW because everybody cheers for everybody. Everybody just wants to see good wrestling. And I think we're pretty familiar with that on both ends. I do think that Mina puts on a great performance. I do think Toni Storm retains. However, there is a very strong possibility that this could be a double disqualification and basically a throw the match out deal. And here's why. And this is my crazy moment of the night. We not only get the return of Mariah May, who is going to go after probably Mina in this case, because she's done with Toni. Toni, that chapter's closed. However, Mariah May is joined by Thekla, the lady that has been teased on AEW screens for the last 3 weeks with that little spider going on. Mariah May is working together with Thekla, and they wipe out both Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm. Whether it's after Mina or after Toni retains or during the match and it just gets wiped out. I think that's where they go, and I think that sets up... Hell, they could even set up a tag match down in Mexico for all you can put together there for Grand Slam Mexico coming up. Because we got Fyter Fest, we got Grand Slam Mexico, all before All In, right? So we got other events we could get major matches on, right? So I do think that's where this goes. Toni Storm walks out with the title, whether it be by a complete wiping of the match or if there's an attack right after the match. I do think this is where you get Thekla. And the reason that we might have Ty Mello and Thekla tonight, that's why I think Cedric Alexander won't be introduced here. You don't want to go too overboard on your introductions for these shows. But I do think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch either way. Anarchy in the Arena. This is going on last, folks. A lot of people have been talking about, oh, this won't go last, the women's title or Ospreay Hangman will go. No, this will go on last. It always does. Because you can start ripping up the ring early if you're smart enough in the ring to do that. Death Riders, Young Bucks versus the Ops, Omega Strickland, and Nightingale. I think you do have to set it up that the Death Riders and the Young Bucks win. However, I think the biggest pop of the night, and I say yes, of the night, because it's not just going to be throughout the whole thing. Gabe Kidd comes out to interfere in this match. There's an intentional reason why Gabe Kidd has been talking about aligning himself with the Death Riders, but not actually being involved in this match. He's going to come out and cause what you do, because Gabe Kidd does that stuff. And then all of a sudden, the music's going to change to Eddie Kingston's music. Eddie Kingston is coming out. The pop in that building will be nuclear for him. Absolutely nuclear. Now, is he 100% ready in ring shape? Maybe not. But he can still go down there, beat Gabe Kidd's ass. And if you guys don't remember, Eddie Kingston got injured in the match with Gabe Kidd, thanks to the Young Bucks in New Japan. So that's where the familiarity comes in with that. And I think Kingston comes in, they do a spot, and eventually Kidd gets abscrayed out of there with Kingston. And the match goes back, and then they start hitting their final points at that point. And I do think that, I do think Moxley's team does get the win. It would be cool, though, to see one of the face guys get the win and just start seeing the unraveling of Moxley. But I think you keep Moxley strong here just to get him to all in as top shape as possible here. But either way, I think this is going to be an amazing card. This is going to be 4 hours of insanity. The fact that we are down to about 10 matches, we're probably going to have a couple matches announced day of. Tony Khan likes to add his matches for the buy-in pretty much day of, just because it's there to get the fans warmed up, give them a taste about what's going on. So we'll probably get something heard right after I put this video up. They'll probably announce 2 more matches for the card. But yeah, I think either way, this is going to be a very fun time. I think it's going to be a very fun match to fun card to watch. And I hope you all get an opportunity to come watch it with me here over on the Backbreaker Video YouTube channel, as well as on the Mike the Ref Twitch channel, as we are going to be doing our AEW Double or Nothing sidecast here. So I'll be here. I will have the phone lines open if you want to connect in and talk with us here, because we can always chat. And I do have buffers, so don't worry about Craig callers. I can deal with that. But yeah, if you're interested, stop by, say hello. We're going to be here all night just to enjoy the time. So, but with that being said, that's going to wrap up this very short. We're right around 20, just over 20 minutes here. So I'm very happy about that. Our AEW Double or Nothing prediction show here on the Backbreaker Video YouTube channel. Once again, thank you everybody for being here. Make sure you check around to see where you're buying your pay-per-views from, because they are different prices with different providers. I'm getting mine on ppv.com. I found out it was $6 cheaper in Canada compared to anybody else. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up here for the video. Thank you for being here. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button. Put in the comments what match you are most looking forward to tonight. And we will see you all Sunday night for the AEW Double or Nothing sidecast here on the Backbreaker Video YouTube channel. Take care, everybody.